Hello, everyone. So throughout the week, when I'm running V-Buck missions, I kind of take notice of what weapons people are using, and I don't really notice that much of a variety in what they're using. It's usually the Xenon bow or the discharger, the vacuum tube bow. But I wanted to go over some of my favorite underrated weapons in Save the World. Weapons that are good that I rarely see anyone talk about or use. So, right off the bat, just to get this out, this is my opinion. These are my opinions. If you think a weapon that I say is not underrated, or you think there's a better underrated option, that's cool. It's my opinion. Don't take this video as 100% fact that these weapons are amazing and you should drop every other weapon in the game for them. I'm just showing some cool weapons that I think people should give a second chance or give a try in general. Also, just kind of an apology for not a lot of gameplay in this video. The missions today were horrible and I struggled to get footage in the one mission that I could. So it's mostly just going to be staring at the lobby with me talking. I will have some gameplay when it's needed, but I struggled today. I'm sorry. I struggled for gameplay. All right, so right off the bat, we're going to go over ARs. This is the loadout I used in the AR gameplay. Tactical Assault Sledgehammer, incredible hero, totally rocking out, really good team perk. Breakbeat Wildcat, Chaos Agent, Skull Trooper, Rescue Trooper, which Rescue Trooper Ramirez or Havoc, they're the same hero. One is just a reskin. And Mainstage Quinn. This is a loadout I use for Tactical Assault Sledgehammer. Even though I didn't really use Totally Rocking Out that much in the gameplay, this is the loadout that I used in that gameplay. Now for the weapon itself, my pick for an underrated AR in this game that I don't really see anyone ever using or talking about is the Ranger. Now, Beast has paraded this weapon around. I know he has. If you're coming from his channel, you've probably heard about this weapon. But this weapon is crazy good. Like, what? Why were we sleeping on this weapon for so many years? This is a base game weapon. It's in every llama, shows up in missions all the time. You're probably sitting on a bunch of them not leveled up because, I don't know, maybe you saw it and you're like, this doesn't look good, and you just kind of ignored it, kept using your better weapons. But this weapon is good, like strangely good. This is almost like when we found out that Clax was just busted. The Clax is an axe. I'm not. It's not in this video, but it is really good, and you should look into that if you haven't already. But the Ranger just shreds. It just straight up shreds things. If you're looking at the gameplay right now, you're seeing the amount of damage I'm doing without totally rocking out, and it just destroys. And all my gameplay and all the footage in this video is in a 160. It is in a 160 without any health multiplying modifiers. So you can see just the amount of damage it's doing to these enemies. And if you've never seen this weapon before, if you've never given it a second thought and you have some of them in your inventory, go level it up. This is the best perks. In my opinion, these are the best perks. But, you know, you could have a different option. You could think something's better. But this is what you'd want to set your perks at. Crit rating, reload, and then the element type for the mission. Crit damage, affliction, and causes affliction damage. Affliction is busted in this game, by the way. If you've never looked at affliction, it is absolutely busted inside the world. But yeah, that is like your best perk loadout for this. And if you're looking at the gameplay, it just destroys. It is a super easy to use, super easy to get rifle. And that is my pick for an underrated AR in this game. And for an underrated SMG pick, I'm just going to preface this and say same loadout, didn't change anything for that gameplay for this. And my pick would be the Trinity. Now, this weapon may look familiar. It is from BR. You've probably recognized this as the Burst SMG or the original Burst SMG from Season 9. And don't be fooled. It's not bad like it was in BR. This thing destroys in Save the World. It is so good and people just sleep on it. This comes from Spy Llamas. It is a spy weapon, so you do have to either research it from Flux or wait till the weekend until a Spy Llama maybe shows up and you can get a chance to get this, but it is easier just to go in the collection book and flux it. But yeah, Trinity. It is a 3-round burst. If you're looking from the gameplay, you can see how it fires. It is a little bit weird to get used to, but once you get used to it, it just destroys everything. It is such a good weapon that I rarely see anyone even talk about on the internet or just talk about in game or use. This weapon is so good, and it just shreds through enemies. If you're looking at the gameplay, it shreds. That's about as much as I can say about this weapon. These are the optimal damage perks, but you do have a choice on the second option for more mag size, and you might want that over extra crit damage if you're not running Totally Rocking Out, because this does have a considerably small mag size for an SMG down there. 24, so you might benefit from an extra mag size perk. But yeah, these are the perks I used in the gameplay that's being shown. All right, for my underrated pistol, this is the loadout I used in the gameplay. Just a standard Beetle Chest loadout, Beetle Chest Totally Rocking Out, Breakbeat Wildcat, Main Stage Quinn, Ranger Deadeye, Chaos Agent, and Skull Trooper. Just a standard pistol crit damage loadout right here, even though I didn't really use Totally Rocking Out that much. But my pick for an underrated pistol in this game is effectively a rocket launcher, the Paper Shredder. This is one of my favorite weapons in the entire game. You get it from Frost Knight, so you either have to get it with a voucher or wait till Frost Knight comes around. But this thing is stupid. You just aim at the ground in front of you and it blows up everything in like a half tile radius. And it does so much damage for a pistol. It uses shotgun shells, but that doesn't really matter. It just destroys everything, and I love this weapon so much. Pistols are not great in Save the World. Even the Onslaught, the Mythic pistol, is really not incredible. But yeah, the Paper Shredder, if you're looking at the gameplay, it just blows everything up. It's just like a pocket rocket launcher. You just aim it right at your feet and it just blows up everything around you. And I love this weapon a lot. It's one of my favorites. And this weapon is so underrated, and I never see anyone talk about it or use it. This thing is amazing for pistol dailies, or in ventures when you need to get pistol kills during the winter season. It's an incredible crowd clearing weapon that not a lot of people talk about. And you're looking at the gameplay, it just blows up everything. And yeah, if you want this weapon, you either have to get it with a voucher or wait until Frost Knight comes around, because it is a holiday weapon. But if you have the chance to get it, or you have it already and you've never used it, I highly recommend giving this weapon a try. These are also my personal best perks for this. It's my favorite perks for this. Now, you probably have other options you could choose, but this is just like a standard kind of pistol damage in general loadout for a weapon. But yeah, reload, crit rating, element of choice, crit damage, affliction, and causes affliction. That's about it for perks on this weapon. And for my underrated pick of shotguns, this is the loadout I used in this. It's a standard crit damage shotgun loadout. Buckshot Raptor, Totally Rocking Out, Breakbeat Wildcat, Main Stage Quinn, Shrapnel Headhunter, Skull Trooper, and Chaos Agent. It's a pretty standard loadout. And for my shotgun pick, I'd have to go with the Room Sweeper. This weapon is a base game weapon. You've probably seen it a million times, but never given it a chance. It is an extremely high fire rate shotgun that just does crazy amounts of damage. You'd think for being such a high fire rate, it would have nerfed damage, but not really. It is super good. And if you're watching from the gameplay here, you can see me just like shredding enemies off. It's so good. And I think Beast has paraded this weapon around a good bit as being really good. You're probably sitting on one of these schematics and you've never used it. It's super good. It is an expensive weapon. It uses a lot of shotgun shells. It also has a pretty slow reload speed, so I'd recommend taking advantage of Chaos Agent to throw a grenade or use any other ability to get all your ammo back, because yes, surprisingly, Chaos Agent works on shotguns like that, and it's kind of insane. He originally didn't. He was bugged where he didn't do that. We told Epic about it and they fixed it in the next update, and we're like, cool, you just made him like 5 times more powerful. But yeah, really good shotgun. If you pair it with Chaos Agent, you're just shredding everything around you, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. I will just warn you on that part. It is very expensive, but it does so much damage. And if you've never given this weapon a try, go for it. These are the perks I recommend: crit rating, mag size, especially mag size, element of choice, crit damage, causes affliction, and deals damage to afflicted targets. That's pretty much the standard perk. However, if you are not using Chaos Agent, I recommend fitting in a reload speed perk in here, because the reload time on this is very, very slow, and it might get you downed in a fight while you're trying to reload if you're not taking advantage of Chaos Agent. But yeah, that is my underrated shotgun pick in Save the World. All right, for snipers, it's going to be a bow. I'm going to go ahead and get that out the way. Normal snipers in this game are not really good. But this one particular bow that people kind of sleep on or forget exist is really good. And this is just a standard Pharah loadout right here. You can swap Saurian Might with Skull Trooper. But yes, Stoneheart Pharah totally rocking out. Breakbeat Wildcat, Main Stage Quinn, Redline Ramirez, Rabbit Raider Jonesy, and this can be swapped out between Rex Jonesy and Skull Trooper. But yeah, it's pretty standard bow loadout. If you use the Xenon bow, you probably already have this loadout. But my pick would be the Cloud Burst. This weapon is special because of this perk right here. Eliminating an enemy causes a damaging cloud of steam, which means if you pair it with Pharah, you can fire into a large crowd of enemies and kill one enemy, and it'll just start pulsing Pharah shots over and over and over and over again. And it just shreds everything. You're seeing from the gameplay here that it just destroys the encampment in almost one hit because the cloud lasts for a good couple seconds with Pharah just ticking, 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 sending off arrow shots everywhere. This thing is so good, and I've seen a few people use this in missions, but not really as much as I'd like to see. Now, these are the standard perks. These are the standard bow universal perks: fire rate, reload, crit rating, crit damage, and an element of choice if you have a choice. But yeah, Cloud Burst, you're seeing in the gameplay, it is sick. It just destroys everything in almost one hit. But if you have this just sitting around, go level it up. Go invest some time into this and give it a try. All right, for my melee pick and the last pick of this video, this is the loadout I used: Whiteout Fiona lead, Blast from the Past, so I have a super high amount of health. Monster Smash, which is Arlene Iza, so keeping me alive with every hit. Breakbeat Wildcat, because I get kills super fast with this loadout, so I'll basically always have Rock and Riff active. Assassination, just extra melee damage. Saurian Claws will take a percent of my super high health with Blast from the Past and add it into the melee damage. And Saurian Hide, so I have a bunch of extra armor that makes me die slower. But my choice for an underrated melee weapon is the Fishing Hook. Now, I've talked about this weapon a lot. I've tried to put more people onto this weapon because it has crit explosions right here. The 6 vector right here, crit hits with this weapon cause an explosion, damaging enemies in a 0.5 tile radius for 43 base damage. This weapon shreds, especially with the loadout that I showed. Since it's a scythe, it does get benefited from Whiteout Fiona. You're just swinging this thing and boom, 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 blowing up everything around you. And these are the optimal perks. A high attack speed is what you want for melees. You want as much attack speed as possible with melees. So attack speed, damage, element of choice, attack speed, and this is preference right here, damage to mist monsters, because I do want to do more damage to smashers and takers and blasters. But yeah, that's kind of just it for this weapon. You swing it around, you're watching in the gameplay, it blows up everything around you. And since you have Whiteout Fiona, you're blowing up more often. Since you have Breakbeat Wildcat, you're constantly in Rock and Riff. And since you have Arlene Iza, you just can't die. You just can't die because the explosions count as melee damage. So you're just constantly getting bursted with health. This weapon is just really good, and I don't really see a lot of people using it. Now, this weapon does decent damage on its own, but the main crutch of it being an underrated weapon is that it can have crit hits cause an explosion and that it's affected by Whiteout Fiona. But yeah, if you've never used this weapon before, it is from the Pirate Llamas. It does come out next season, so don't waste Flux if you don't want to. However, this is a Flux weapon, so you can just go get it from the collection book for Flux and not have to use a voucher. But it does come out next season. It's in Pirate Llamas, so maybe don't waste Flux if you don't have the spare. But yeah, this is my pick for an underrated melee weapon in this game. And yeah, that's kind of it for this video. I wanted to give my opinions on stuff that I think was underrated that I don't see a lot of people using. Now, originally, I was going to include a lot of different stuff in here, but I felt like it would just kind of make the video a little bloated and unnecessarily complicated. So I just picked one simple, underrated choice for each category and went with that. Also, getting gameplay for this video was a nightmare. It took like 2 hours to get all the B-roll for this because of the missions being so bad. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who uses my code. I'm kind of writing more of these ideas down to record as I get the time to, or I get the motivation to just say, all right, time to record when I get a good idea. But yeah, so thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone who uses my code. And yeah, that's it for this video.